The exhaust is definitely loudest when the M2 is in Sport Plus mode. Let's go for a drive. Welcome back to the cockpit of my M2. So finally we've got some warm sunny weather here in London and I need to go to the butcher. Big shout out to O'Farrell's in Willesden for anyone that's around the sort of northwest London area. I know there's a lot of you who've subscribed who have got M2s on order and are probably lapping up every single bit of content that you can find on YouTube about this car, and let me tell you, it's amazing. So what I want to focus on today is, since the track day, how I've changed my setup. So the first thing I did post track day, and if you haven't seen the video, go check it out, but the big mistake that I made is not actually setting the car up for being on track, because with the regular sports seats you're not going to feel so strapped in and tight. You are going to move around if you don't do some configuration. So I've got the side bolsters now in what I think is their narrowest position, so that really supports my back and sides and my hips and stops me from moving around so much. And that is already making a huge difference. And I've just locked that in on my driver memory button. So you've got two positions. So I've just locked it in on number one, because in actual fact, I find that more bolstered setup actually a lot more comfortable than I thought I would. The other thing that I've done, which is a bit weird considering that I live in London and a lot of the driving I do, you have to stick to, obviously you have to stick. I'm driving an M2, so I still want to hear the exhaust and I love all the noise and I still want some driving dynamics. And then obviously when you change to a higher speed limit, or you know, the road terrain allows you to be a bit more spirited, I've got the car set up in a way that it just invokes excitement, because the obvious thing to do would just drive this in efficiency mode when you're around town, but you know, there's no fun in that. So what I have done, just to make sure that I've always got that little bit of a thrill when I'm driving, so my M1 button on the steering wheel, which for those of you that don't have the car yet, you have an M1 and an M2 button, these two red buttons here, you can actually set those up with whatever configuration. Hi everyone, so at whatever point in the video I promised to show you how I've set the car up, actually show you the actual screen. So here we are in the iDrive main menu. So I'm just going to press the home button here, because actually one of my widgets is the actual car sort of setup. And then if we go in there, and actually just for those of you that don't have your M2s yet, let me just take you through this. I've not added any widgets, this is just what was set up as standard. I've not actually looked into all of this in detail, but I have traffic conditions and it's telling you there, yeah, so there you go. So it's given me an update on, you know, what's going on. Moving traffic, normal traffic conditions, trend constant. I guess that means that there's not really anything to worry about. A route preview, so if I'd actually put the destination in there, then it would preview the route. Then it's the weather, so if we go in there, let's just see what that looks like. There we go. 2% chance of rain. Honestly, it's clear blue skies. I don't think there's any chance of rain today. And you can change the locations as well. Then we have got, this is the sort of M2. Now, if you have passengers in the car, they love this, because what happens is, if I try and do this here, I don't know if you can see the wheel turning. Yeah, there, right, look at the wheel. And if I turn the steering wheel back. So basically that graphic mimics what's happening with the car. So when you're driving, the wheels spin, and then when you know, when you do the indicators, they come on. And I think when you flash the lights, when you flash the lights. So yeah, it's a bit gimmicky, but it's really, really cool at the same time. And passengers have absolutely loved it. They've all sort of raved in it, and it gives you your sort of status on your tire pressures, your oil, any other warnings, and whether your doors and stuff are unlocked or whatever. Then you've got your engine information there, so temperature and pressure. Then you've got your tire pressure info. So this again is just set up as it came out of the factory. So 2.6 all around pretty much. Just touch lower on the back left there. And it gives you the tire temperatures as well. This is the personal assistant, and you can set up your personal eSIM. So actually I need to order an eSIM and do that. Obviously the telephone stuff, media, radio, including CarPlay, and then this is and then over here is the nav, the map, and this is the bit that I want to show you. So at the moment I'm in my M1 button mode, so I've got engine in Sport Plus, chassis in Sport Plus, steering in Comfort, brakes Comfort. And then if you see here the M traction control, I've got it on the first position, so I've turned it all the way down, so it's not off, but it's you know, it's sort of down there. And then on my M2 configuration, that is set up. Actually, let me just put it into M2. Right, there we go. Right, let's go back here. So my M2 configuration, I need to change that actually. So right, M2 configuration, you can see that it's pretty much the same, but the steering is sport. Really, that should be sport as well, because I want everything turned up. So let's just change that here. So change that to sport. Right, there we go. Go back. So that's our M2 mode there. So basically everything completely turned up, and then again the same with the traction control, just a little bit. And then if I take it out of M2, right, there we go. So this is just normal, and so this is when I start the car, and also when it's wet. So the engine inefficient, chassis comfort, steering comfort, brake comfort. Why the traction control is so down there? I might have got that wrong, you know. I'm sure there's people watching this that are shouting at their screens. So feel free to drop in the comments and educate me, because obviously I'm an idiot. But anyway, there we go. So that's how I've got it set up. The other thing whilst I'm here is to show you the difference between iDrive 8 and iDrive 8.5. So the LCI version of the G87, the update, moved to 8.5, and the pre-LCI has version 8. Now down here you can see you don't have any climate controls, or you know, really any buttons at all, apart from, you know, your volume button. Then you've got your skip tracks, hazard lights, your windscreen blower, and then your rear window heating I should say. And what would happen in iDrive 8 for pre-LCI owners is to access climate control, etc., you would have to go into the menu here and then access all of that stuff, like so. With iDrive 8.5, what happened was they added these buttons here for music, easy access to music, nav, climate, home button, main menu, and your telephone. So that was actually a very small change, but very, very handy. It just saved you having to go through the menu system every time, and it just makes it a bit easier to do if you're fiddling around with that stuff while you're driving, which I wouldn't advise you to do. I tend to try and set my car up the way I want it before I set off. But you know, the other good thing with BMWs is you have the iDrive controller, which is so much safer to use. In the Ioniq 6, you know, constantly poking around the screen, which is hard when the car's vibrating as well. But yeah, you know, I really think that BMW have got the best in-car entertainment or infotainment system of any car manufacturer. It's just so well thought out. So yeah, hope that helps, and I'll now pass you back to me and we'll continue driving. So I've got my M1. So what I do is I start the car and it starts in efficiency mode, and then once it's warm, you know, I usually sit there for a couple minutes and before I drive off, and then I'll hit the M1 button, and the M1 button I've got set up the engine Sport Plus, the chassis Sport Plus, and then I've got steering in Comfort, and I've got the, I don't know what that one is, the one at the bottom I've got as Comfort as well. You've got 4 rows there, so mine's Sport Plus, Comfort, Comfort. And then the traction control, I've got it turned all the way down, so very minimal, and that just makes the car so alive. It's really hard to explain, but you get that little bit of a flutter inside when you're driving it. Even at 30 miles an hour, the whole thing is just like it's woken up. I know it's less fuel efficient, but to be honest, the tank on this is reasonably small, and once you get used to that, like you're past caring anyway. I mean, if you had the money to get a car like this, then, you know, spending an extra tenner or whatever it is a week on petrol's not really gonna break you. And you didn't buy an M2, or you didn't pre-order an M2 because you tend to drive like Morgan Freeman in Driving Miss Daisy all the time. Let's face it. So that's how I've got it set up for daily driving, and then I will take it out of M1 mode if it's wet, and then that puts all the stuff back on, so it drops down into efficiency or comfort mode, depending. Everything's nice and soft. Traction control is fully on, and you know, that's just the responsible thing to do, because you don't want to be driving around with traction control off when it's wet. The other thing I need to figure out, and if I do figure it out, I'll let you guys know, but although you can hold down the set button on the steering wheel to turn off the speed limit warning, because that is very irritating, you have to go into the menu to turn off lane keep assist, I think it's called, you know, where it works out the white lines on the road and then it self-corrects the car. I hate that. I'm a very engaged driver, so very rarely is it an occasion where I will drift out of lane. So it's not necessary for me, and I don't like the idea that the car is self-correcting when sometimes you don't want it to. So, for example, you might have some idiot in the lane next to you that suddenly veers out without warning, and you don't have time to indicate. You don't even maybe have the thinking space. You just react, and in that moment you just need to move your car away from the one that's about to hit you. And the problem with the lane keep assist is that it interferes with your reaction and timings and so on. So I need to figure out if there's a quick way to turn that off, but at the moment I have to keep remembering to go into the menu before I drive off, turn it off. So that's just a thing to mention. And if there's any M2 owners, because there'll be those of you that are pre-LCI, or you might have the LCI, it doesn't matter actually, but you know, you've got a G87, you've had it since 2023, 2024, so you're a bit further along the ownership road than I am, and maybe a lot of our other listeners are, viewers are. if you've got any tips on that, please drop them in the comments and share, because it can be very hard to find that sort of information out in your car manual. Okay, so now I'm coming on to 40 road, so we can chuck this out, and that's the thing. It just, while I'm looking at my head-up display here, one thing I would recommend you do, because it doesn't cost much money, I can't remember how much it is, but it is worth paying for, is if you go into your BMW app and there's a store, a connected drive store or something, and you can also do it through your dashboard as well through iDrive. I highly recommend paying the year's subscription for the speed camera warning. So what that app does is it will then give you the option to have your speed camera warning on your head-up display. So if you've got the speed limiter turned off, you've still got to be wary of speed cameras and so on. And so the speed camera warning app puts a warning and a very sort of dull beep when you're approaching a speed camera, and that is really useful for reasons I do not have to explain. And it tells you in your head-up display the distance to the camera. So I highly recommend, that is a must-do, guys. Like, don't not do it. Just whatever it is, 50 quid for the year or whatever, just pay it. It's worth it. I just love the sound that this car makes when it shifts. It just brings me so much joy. And again, I just have a smile on my face when this thing is parked up and I see it first thing in the morning, or I walk away from it and look back, or I'm walking towards it. It just gives me so much joy, really. All the hard work to save up to get to the stage where I could own an M car like this with that amazing S58 engine, it's been so worth the blood, sweat and tears, really. I can't tell you. Yeah, I mean, famous last words, but I really can't see myself ever wanting to get rid of this. If you've pre-ordered an M2, you're really in for a treat. You're not going to regret it. It would be really nice if you're watching this and you're a current M2 owner with a little bit of tenure under your belt. Drop your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear how you feel about the car 12 months, 18 months in. You know, some of you are probably at 8, 10, 15,000 miles. It would be really, really cool to get your, you know, sort of like, you've had the car that long, are you itching for anything else? Yeah, I've gone and taken a wrong turning as well. I need to go back. I'm such an idiot. That's the other thing as well. When I'm talking to you lot and I'm driving, I'm just like, I have no idea where I'm going. But it doesn't matter. I don't mind getting lost in this car because it means I get to drive it even more. It's brilliant. But yeah, everything about this car is great. I can't really find any faults, to be honest. Most of the things, and they are little things that annoy me, are to do with regulation. You know, like the speed limit, aggressive speed limit warning, but again, you can turn that off every time you get in the car, so it's not a hardship. Wow, I mean, beyond that, there's nothing else I can think of. The other question I've got for some of you M2 owners out there, if M2 Razy is watching this, I know you got your fire red M2 in Alcantara for the steering wheel. How is that? Are you loving it, or do you wish you'd gone leather? I really thought about going Alcantara for the steering wheel, and then in the end I decided not to, because I got too locked into what people were saying on forums about when it gets dirty and the oil from your hands and that sort of thing. And I think I'm kind of, maybe that's like a a really teeny tiny regret that I didn't go for that sort of slightly more sporty steering wheel. But I do still love this steering wheel. It's a good old BMW chunky number. It looks great. I love this little red thing at the top that, you know, tells you, I don't know why that is. It's probably a racing thing, but it's quite cool. And then it's got all the sort of the stitching in the M colours around it. It looks really, really nice. It's got carbon fibre here as well, because I went for the additional carbon fibre interior trim. Love it. And you know, the other thing I really love that was one thing about the Supra that I absolutely bloody hated. The Supra's horn. I don't know if anyone has ever heard the horn on a Supra, but the Supra looks so cool and it looks so aggressive and it's got such road presence. But when you bang the horn, people sort of look around and they look past the Supra. Like if there's a Fiat 500 or something, they think it came from that. It's such a high-pitched, weak sounding horn. It's crazy. So I'm really glad that every time I think, should I have sold the Supra, I remember the horn sound, and it was one of the things that really, really irritated me. One of the other things that really irritated me on the Supra was the boot, that there was no catch to lift the thing up. And if you did open the boot from the inside, as soon as you slammed the door, it's like a design fault. As soon as you slammed the door, you got round to the boot, the vibration of you slamming the door actually locked the boot again. So I had to put spacers in the boot on the Supra to stop it from doing that. Really, really irritating. It was such a stupid design flaw. But yeah, anyway, sorry, back to this car and Irritations. There just aren't any. So zero regrets whatsoever. I love having the roof. I've not opened it because I'm just waiting for some new Revilla microphones to arrive, so then I can actually, you know, have the car windows open with the wind going and you'll still be able to hear me. So yeah, and also the Kudos, like this car really, it gets so many looks on the road and so many looks of appreciation and thumbs up from everyone, from other M car owners to, I've had people in Audi RS6s and RS3s who've given me a thumbs up and a nod. You know, it's just really nice for people who love their cars, no matter what brand or make, you know, who know their cars and seem to know that this latest and possibly last iteration of the M2 is a big deal. And I guess the only other slight thing that is a bit of a niggle is the fact that I had this car fully detailed like 10 days ago and it was mint, and now it is covered in a thick layer of dust. One of the consequences of living in the city, I guess. Lots of building work and stuff around, but yeah, it looks filthy. So, you know, upkeep getting this detailed 2 or 3 times a month is costing about 150 quid a month, but what can you do? I have bought a new pressure washer actually with the snow foam thing. So if any of you that do your own cars have got any tips on what snow foam to use, especially if you've got track pack PPF, I would appreciate your advice in the comments, so please educate me. But I've got a Karcher pressure washer with the snow foam nozzle, so yeah, it would be really good to know what you guys are using, because I know there are lots of different types of snow foam out there. When you snow foam your car, do you hose it down first to get the initial dirt off, or do you just put the snow foam on, let it do its thing, and then wash it off? Like, it'd be really, really good just to get some car. I'm probably gonna have to watch some other YouTubers car washing videos actually. Thank you again for joining me. I'm really appreciative of this little community that's being built through our little YouTube channel. We're not car experts. We're not experts at anything really apart from our actual day jobs, you know. We just love talking about stuff from a layperson's point, you know, just from a normal person's point of view. No agenda. This is what we think. If it's something that we've used, give you our real opinions on it. We're not paid. All the stuff that is featured on the channel, we actually buy with our own money. We're just a little channel that, you know, we're very passionate about helping people. The Hyundai Ioniq 6 video actually did help a few people. You know, it's not like the most viewed video, but from the comments and feedback we've gotten so far, it has found a small audience and it's helped people, and that's what we try and do. I want to say a massive thank you to all of you that are here, all of you returning viewers, everyone that's new to the channel. Thank you so much for supporting us. We really appreciate you. I will see you in the comments. I love having our little chats, and I will see you on the next one. Remember to like and subscribe and all of that lovely, lovely stuff. I'm now in Sainsbury's car park, so I'm going to find a space that is either well away from everybody else or is next to a barrier, so that I can actually just park it in such a way that nobody will want to park next to me. And that's what happens when you own a car like this. I was going to rev the engine for you, but there's someone standing on his phone right behind me, so that would be a real dick thing to do. Thank you all so much once again. We really, really appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you on the next one.